G'day guys, welcome to the Hello Game Day podcast. We've got Jaidyn Stephenson joining us today. Just to let everybody know, wherever you're watching or listening, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you like. It's a massive help for us and good with the YouTube algorithms. Now, Poncho boy, give Steve-O a massive pump up, please.
We love him. He's a great man. He's Eastern Rangers boy from the TAC Cup. He played in the Vic Metro and he went pick 6 in the 2017 draft to Collingwood. And next year was the rising star for 2018. So, Jaidyn Stephenson, we didn't actually give you the brief on this, but give us a hello game day if you could.
Hello game day. Thanks for having us. It's an honour to be on tonight. Been one of my lifelong dreams to be on this podcast, and I've finally done it. So it's great.
It is massive for you, mate, and I'm so glad that you do appreciate it the way you do. And we're going to start up with a few little stitch-ups, if you don't mind, mate, because we like to break the ice early and make sure that you feel really comfortable. So the first thing that I've got for you is that, you know, as footy players, you love to have a bit of, you know, off-season holidays and trips, and you love to go overseas and you do your thing. But apparently you went on about 10 cruises in the off-season instead of going travelling. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I suppose my two lock-ins are Bali and a cruise. So I typically do Bali in the off-season and a cruise over New Year's. So a lot of people can see cruises as like an old person holiday, and they certainly can be. But over New Year's, you get a few young people on there, and they're always a lot of fun.
Well, I've heard that you were actually drinking Jim Beam and tanning by the pool by day, and by night you were playing bingo and after a wholesome buffet dinner.
Sounds about right, except for the Jim Beam. Oh, couldn't do that. But the strawberry daiquiris go down a treat on cruises, and you go to your bingo. It's a little chance at gambling. You get on it, and then off to the nightclub.
Beautiful. What are the nightclub? What's the setup like?
It's just like it's on the top level of the boat, so it's like level 13, and there's just one bar and a massive dance floor, and every night there's probably 150 to 200 people in there. It's awesome, and you get people from 18 in there to 65. So it's a really good mix, good fun.
So anybody can have their fun. Apparently, you're also quite the entrepreneur, or your mate has given me a bit of intel that you've tried to start up a few businesses, a few clothing businesses, and apparently the ideas were not so great, and you should potentially stick to footy.
Yeah, probably a good what's the way of saying it? Yeah, he's put that right. Obviously tried to start them up, but didn't really have the drive or the knowledge to really do so. So they've both been big busts, but I'm the only one that's lost out, because my mate's like bought in, but then once it went bust, I was like, stuff it. I got plenty of money, so I'll pay their share that they lost. So,
so we can thank your mate Nick. Is it April?
Yeah, April. Yep.
April for that one.
Bus there.
Yeah,
no,
I was actually searching around for stitch ups, and all the Collingwood boys were really tight-lipped about it. And then Big Nick, I give him the shout out, and he was all over it like white on rice.
I can imagine.
Now, Ritzy and the class above. Apparently, that's what they were called.
Yeah, that's what they were called. The first one was Ritzy, and that lasted probably 3 weeks. Made some hats, and they were shocking, so I couldn't sell them. And then, class above was with my 3 or 4 other mates, and that actually went all right. We actually did get a few sales with that, but it didn't continue to grow after the first batch.
Well, mate, Poncho and I are absolutely shameless with what we wear. So if you ever start up another clothing label, we'll don it for you. We'll help out.
Sounds good. I think I might stick to footy though. I think Nick was right.
Yeah, I think so. Now, off to stitch ups now, mate. I don't want to harp on it too much, but you did obviously have a bit of trouble with a scandal last year that you were involved in with gambling. And as I said, I don't want to harp on it too much, but what I did want to know was who you've got for first goal scorer this weekend.
Oh, I wish I could comment, but I really don't think I should.
Yeah, no, you should. We'll leave it at that.
Good comment. Well, mate, another one, and we've had a bit of a private laugh about this, but you're pretty fortunate at birth, because from what we've found out, you're either going to be a football player or you're going to be a supermodel for the Girl Next Door magazine. So can you comment on this photo of you?
Yeah, I reckon it actually looks all right, doesn't it? Probably better looking than I am as a dude.
Well, you definitely look better than Lyndon Dunn's version. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It was
Wouldn't
rude.
We
be
should have
hard.
gotten Dunnies up.
It's not Geordie's is the worst, I reckon. Far out.
Yeah, there's a few.
Geordies look really trashy.
Yeah, the big nose on it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Well, more into a serious one, and apparently, mate. Now you go to Bali at the end of the year with the boys, and you got your typical footy trip. And apparently, as the storyline goes, mate, that the boys, as per usual, you want to get on the beers early, but it was too early for you, so you decided to order a choccy milk. What is the story there?
I'm not sure when I ordered choccy milk, but I did go with in my first year. I went with Geordie, Adam Oxley, and Ben Crocker, and they really liked drinking during the day. They'd start at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and I was sort of new to drinking, so I did it the first day and then sort of crashed out and didn't get to go out of the night time, which I love doing. So from there on in, I sort of just drank at night and didn't drink during the day. I may have ordered a chocolate milk or something at some stage, but I think that's had a bit of mayonnaise added to it.
Well, we love a bit of mayonnaise.
I'll thank Ox for that story because he's the one who provided it to me. And also, Mad Monday has been scrapped this year from all reports. And we're thinking that the next sort of punishment by the AFL could be, no drinking before 5 p.m. and a mandatory chocolate milk to line the stomach. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, sounds good. I'll be asking Gil for that. That'd be awesome. So hopefully in the next few years we can get that ticked off by the commission.
You'll be running the campaign for that, which is absolutely superb. So your elite preparation in your first year. Now, rising star, no one can take that away from you. You obviously did a lot right in your first year. And as the story does go, apparently...
I know where this is going.
Before an AFL game, you'd stop off at McDonald's, buy yourself a Big Mac and a thick shake. Is that true?
No, it's very close. So I against Melbourne on my first Queen's Birthday Day game, I was just like sort of looking for a snack but had no food in the cupboard or the fridge, and I needed something to eat before I played, so I called into KFC and got a little Wicked Wings Go bucket. They were known as a snack box back then, and I ended up kicking like 4 goals 3. So it definitely worked.
Mate, that is rogue. I can't believe
that's
you
a
even ran out
once-off.
half a game.
That's a once-off. I haven't done it since, but yeah, that seemed to work that day.
Well, there's another one with your preparation, mate, and apparently when it comes to night games, and I don't know if this was specifically your first year as well, but what you do is you wouldn't get out of bed until 4 p.m. if it was a 7:30 p.m. start. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, that is true. Like I said, yeah, this was all my first year. I've sort of improved on my professionalism and preparation since then, but I just always enjoyed playing like morning games as a kid. So I thought, what's the way of making a night game into a morning game? Just wake up at 4 o'clock. So I'd typically do that.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it, but you know what? That actually really does make sense. Now, as I've told you, Steve-O, we've been absolutely marketing this to the gills. Now, told you I've been making TikToks. We've been putting the feelers out for people to ask you questions all week. So I've got a few questions from fans here for you. So I'm just going to play the video, if you don't mind. First one is from Collingwood Instagrammer, Swoop Luke.
Hello, game day, my old friend. I've got a cue for Stephenson. If you could be any Marvel superhero or DC, who would you be?
That's from Swoop Luke.
That's a good one. Probably maybe Thor. He just seems like a bit of the boss, and Chris Hemsworth's a good-looking bloke. So if I had the long hair like that, that'd be a great result.
Oh, we'll get to that later. Yeah, excellent. Now, another one was from Sam Rasmus, and his question for you was...
Hello, game day. A question for you, Steve-O, is what's with your routine for such shot? We've seen a couple of different routines this season, obviously with throwing up the ball. What does you go to, and why do you change it up? And yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of just try not to think a whole lot and just change it up all the time. I don't really have any set routine, and sometimes they come off, sometimes they don't. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a bit of like an impulsive sort of person, so I can just change things very quickly, like with my hair, which keeps stuffing up. So hopefully I can find something and just settle in, especially with the hair.
We do hope so. Now, we touched before about your cruises, and you love going on your cruises. And I saw a photo on your Instagram of you. You said you had like a net for a bed. And what's the go there? Do you love, slumming about when you're on holidays, or are you more of a 5-star man?
Well, no, that was actually a school trip, that one. So that was like a cultural experience in year 11 where we went to Kiribati, which is a small country between like Fiji and Hawaii. So out in the middle of nowhere. And we lived off the land. We had no internet, no showers, no toilets. And yeah, it was 30 degrees, 24 hours a day. So we just slept with nets around us on yoga mats, and it was a really good cultural experience, and I'd love to go back.
And where's the next destination for you? The next cruise, perhaps?
I always stick to the Vanuatu and Caledonia South Pacific cruise. I just like the warm weather. Obviously, I could easily do one in New Zealand, but the beaches aren't as nice there. So I more just see it as a holiday where you can drink and get some sun.
Yeah, you must enjoy that in your off season after a big season. Now, do you see yourself playing in the midfield in the future, or do you see yourself staying forward or wing or even half back?
Yeah, I'm really not sure at the moment. I'd obviously love to play inside mid, but it's pretty busy in there, and I have a lot to work on in terms of contest wise. But given time, I think it'll be all right. I had a bit of an interrupted preseason this year with glandular, so I missed 6 full weeks of doing nothing, which hurt. But next year I'll be training to hopefully go on the wing.
Yeah, because you started there this year and you looked pretty good, and the commentators were loving it as well. And do you and Will and Hoskin Elliott kind of swap between wing and forward there, or?
Well, it's typically been Maney and Dakes the whole time, and then just when they need a chop out, Will or I step up and do that role for them.
Yeah, because I noticed that you guys were sort of swapping there at the start of the season. You're both pretty effective forwards as well. It's difficult to get that sort of chemistry in the forward line with a few blokes who are kind of similar-ish type players.
It has been hard because we've been changing a lot so much this year. I feel like every week we're having 3 or 4 changes due to injury and other reasons. So it has been hard to find that continuity and that connection. But I think the last few weeks the ball movement's been a little bit better, and I think we're building nicely for finals. And obviously getting Geordie, Howie, and Adzi back are certainly going to boost our side up tenfold. So I'm very excited to see how far we can go this year.
And those boys, they're all coming back pretty quick smart, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Geordie could play this week, hopefully, against Gold Coast, and then the other 2 might play against Port Adelaide. So that'd be a really big boost for us.
And have they been, like in the mix in training sessions and what have you?
They've been doing a lot of their own rehab sort of stuff, a lot of early morning running and all that sort of hoo-ha by themselves. But I think this week they should all be back into main training, which is going to be exciting and uplifting for the group.
Yeah, lovely. And the last thing I wanted to sort of share with you was that, you're a good-looking rooster. We know that. But when you're in your under-18s year, you were donning a certain vest. And I like to call it the grungy, hippie van life sort of look. You'd see this in Southeast Asia after backpacking for a whole year.
Yeah.
And now you've gone for the hot boy TikTok sort of look, and I was wondering, like, what's next?
Well, I think I might grow it longer again, but just maintain it a little bit. I get obviously the fluffy curls on the side, so I have to make sure I undercut them. But yeah, I thought it looked good at the time, and I had a girlfriend, so life was pretty comfortable at that time, and it didn't really bother me.
Since being back on the market, the first time I ever met you, I don't know if you'll remember this, but the 2018 Brownlow night, because you were the rising star that year. So you came to the Brownlow and you brought your mum along with you, and you're a shameless mummy's boy, and so am I. So tell us about your mum and what she means to you.
Yeah, mum obviously means a lot to me. I've grown up with mum and dad together, which is really good, and I obviously love both of them dearly. But I feel like mum was always the one I sort of clashed more with, and then I also probably told mum more stuff than I told dad. So mum and I's connection are real close. My sister and my dad get along really well, but we're quite a tight-knit family as a whole. And I always told Mum if I ever make it to the AFL and I get to go to Brownlow, she'll be the first one I take. And I was a man of my word, and I wouldn't have wanted anyone else there with me that night.
That's awesome. And there's absolutely no shame in being a mummy's boy, mate. You're talking to one of the biggest ones there is. And I actually did message your sister Tegan, and I asked her for some stitch-ups and some stories, and she did not get back to me. So you can thank her for that.
Probably thought stranger danger. Good on her.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the last one that I've got for you is that, you obviously brought your mum to the Brownlow night. I thought it was because you couldn't get a girlfriend, but you've cleared that up for us. Have you been able to get a girlfriend, and in the future will you be able to have a real date to the Brownlow?
Oh, yeah, I've been in a relationship total for like 3.5, 4 years. So I had a 2-year girlfriend from like 17 to 19, and then another one for a year last year. But at the moment, I'm just enjoying being single and only worrying about myself at the moment, which is good.
That's all you need to worry about.
Yeah,
exactly. And if you're going to the Brownlow, I don't think it'd be too hard to find a date. That's for sure.
Oh, I'm here if you need one, mate. So
I'll be third in line to that. Probably your mother, then Jake, then me. But moving forward to kind of in your career, I was doing a bit of research myself, and I noticed that coming up to the draft, they had to weigh up the fact that you actually have a heart condition called arrhythmia. And I was just wondering, like, when did that first kind of pop up in your life? Like, obviously through playing sport or being in juniors, like primary school. When did you kind of realize that was an issue with you?
Yeah, so I had a ECG, which is obviously a test of the electrodes of your heart, when I was 16 and got into the AIS Academy. And it was a little bit abnormal, but the cardiologist thought, okay, you probably don't need to worry, like it's only borderline, so you'll be okay, continue to play. And then it got around to under 18s, and my sister also made the VIS for netball as a 16-year-old, and she had the same test, and she was the same. She was borderline, so a little bit worried. And because we were both borderline, they went and sent us for further testing and genetic testing and all that. And it turns out that my mum has the condition, and she has passed it down to my sister and I. So it was a tough time, especially for mum. Like, I didn't really care. I thought I've played well enough footy, and whether it be pick 50 or pick 60, someone's going to take the risk on me. And if it busts, and it was worth the crack. But my mum was sort of thinking, Jaidyn's been working his whole life to achieve his dream, and now he might not make it because of something that she'd given me. So it was a tough time, but ultimately in the end, it worked out perfectly. And I went pick 6 to Collingwood, which couldn't have worked out any better.
Yeah, you'd be absolutely rapt to be at such a powerhouse club. And so I'm taking from that it never got to a serious point where there was actually a moment on the field or it's really affected you physically. It's more just an alert to clubs and they've known about it. Yeah,
exactly. I've got to take medication now to prevent any incidences from occurring. So I take medication every day, which is like a beta blocker. So that's just part of my normal life now. And I take it before I go to bed every night.
Oh, there you go. And so moving into obviously getting drafted and you burst onto the scene in an incredible first year. What were your expectations after getting drafted and going into your first season? Were you confident that you were going to play round one?
I would have liked to think so. Yeah, obviously it was within my goals to play round one. And firstly, all I had to do was earn the respect of my teammates and coaches and train well in the preseason. I was lucky enough to get that opportunity. I probably should have been dropped after round 3. We played against Carlton and I had 6 touches and I hadn't kicked a goal for the season yet. And I thought, oh, this might be the end of me. Like, I might have to spend my time in the twos for a bit. But luckily enough, Bucks gave me one more chance and came out and played an all right game against Adelaide. So, yeah, it was certainly in my plans to play round one. And I've always been very confident in my ability. So, yeah.
Absolutely, man. It shows like you had an incredible debut year and that continues forward into the final series. Now, you guys lose your qualifying final to West Coast and claim a narrow victory over GWS, placing you in the prelim where you pull off probably the biggest upset of the finals, beating the powerhouse team of 2018 in Richmond in such a dominant display. Can you just talk us through the moment where you're going and you realise you're going to be playing in a grand final and then going into the grand final week? Like, it must have been so special.
Yeah, it was awesome. I actually had a really good feeling walking out into the G before that prelim. I was actually talking to Josh Thomas, and I've been known just to like sort of speak my mind a little bit. And I said to Joshy, I was like, mate, I cannot see how we lose this game. Like I feel us winning by like 4 or 5 goals, and he sort of just laughs at me and goes, "Steve, you're an idiot." But yeah, I had a really good feeling for that day, and then knowing you're in a grand final in your first year was just an unbelievable feeling. The grand final parade, like sitting on the back of the truck and waving for half an hour, my face was that sore from smiling the whole time, and I think all the support and messages you get is very overwhelming, and then to go out on the day and just see a full house at the MCG, it's a feeling unlike any other. And obviously we couldn't get the result we wanted, but I feel pretty proud to know that we stopped the Richmond three-peat anyway. So that's not too bad.
And for someone who's barracked for Richmond all my life, it bloody hurt because I was so confident going into that game. I was like, here we go. We'll roll in. We've had all the form. So it was well done by you boys. Now, another little one I came across was, I don't know how this could have manifested, know if this is correct, but is it true you tattooed 2 fans' asses during grand final week, one with West Coast Eagles, one with Pies Premiership? Is that true?
Yeah, that's true. So I got a call from, obviously, I do home job tattoos quite a bit, and I got a call from Gold 104.3 in Melbourne, the radio station, and they said, we got 2 fans, a Collingwood supporter and a West Coast supporter. Can you come in and tattoo the Premiers 2018 on both of them? So I went in and did that.
That was during grand final week.
Yeah, that would have been maybe the Tuesday before the Saturday grand final. So it was a very funny day, and I feel sorry for the Collingwood supporter who's got a Premiers tattoo on his ankle.
He's just got your personal signature, I guess. So that's incredible, because I was actually wondering, so you've had a bit of time on the tattoo gun, because I was like, surely they haven't just let you go rogue on this.
Yeah, I bought a $100 tattoo gun off eBay and then tattooed all my mates. So I wouldn't say it's experience in the slightest, but and I can't draw either. So I sort of just trace lines, and they've got a nice home job feeling to them.
Yeah, nice. So that's an incredible one. And another one in the grand final, it had a couple of iconic moments put under the microscope in the hours and days post-game. And you were involved with one of them, obviously. And I was just hoping to get your take on the moment where you're involved with Alex Woodward and his accidental block.
Yeah, obviously I was leading to the ball, and unbeknownst to me, it was Woody. I just saw a runner get in my way, and I've sort of at the time, it stopped me from getting to the ball, which it was pretty poor kick by Tay anyway. I'm not sure. I definitely wouldn't have marked the ball, but I may have got there to spoil. I'll never know. But at the time, I sort of like, oh, what are you doing? Like, get out of the way. And I realised it was Woody, and like, he did such a fantastic job that whole year. I don't think the runners get enough credit. Like, us boys are running 13, 14 Ks, and they're running 15 or 16. It's unbelievable. And to have the coach in your ear the whole time wouldn't be great. So Woody did a fantastic job, and I hold no angst against him at all, and none of the players did. He probably stopped something that would have just made Tay's kick look bad anyway. So it might have been a little bit of a saver and a bit of an excuse for that anyway. So it was
absolutely
a great kick by Yo to finish it off too.
And the one I want to ask is, like, was that something you've both discussed prior, you and Woody, or is it just something that you've kind of left in the moment as for what it is?
No, we've spoken about it. We sort of just like laugh about it. Like, he was obviously distraught after the game and put a lot of responsibility on himself, which is so incorrect. And I made sure I got around him and then sent him a message a few days after. And I still see Woody every now and then now. So we laugh about it now. Nothing that can be done. And there's no worries.
No, just from me as well, I've actually met Woody out a few times with the boys, and he is one of the best blokes you could ever meet as well. And the things that he's been through with, I think, 4 knee reconstructions as well. And he's just one of the coolest, most positive dudes. Yeah, this year, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, last year.
But he's just the coolest, one of the most positive dudes you could ever meet.
Yeah, it's funny because like that's something I wanted to allude to after asking that question. Like, he was a Sandy Dragons boy, I'm pretty sure, and I followed his story pretty closely before even the grand final incident. And just like his resilience as a bloke. And I think he had a little segment on Open Mic recently, and I'm glad that they got to speak about, you have assholes who reach out and send messages to him and degrading stuff when this is a bloke who's given everything for football. And unfortunately, this is going to be something that's remembered more than all the other aspects of his football. So, no, I'm glad you guys gave him the pump up, because I think that's something that he really deserves as a bloke. But moving forward to the next question, in 2019, I absolutely love this, the torpedo. So how confident were you in that? And is that something you practice often in training?
Yeah, I sort of walk out there, and the first ball I get my hands on, I torp from 55, and I usually end training by doing a few torps. I've always loved doing them, and I've kicked a few as a junior when I'm a little bit too far out and didn't want to pass it off. So I think if the ball feels right, then I sort of just go for it. And that day I was sitting there, I took the mark at about the 49 metre mark, so I wasn't even that far out, but just twiddling the ball around in my fingers, it just felt like a good ball to torp. So I thought, yeah, why not? And it came off, luckily. Otherwise, I might have been sitting on the bench for the rest of that day.
I like that. That's because I noticed you're fiddling the ball around, so you have a feel for how you reckon it's going to go. And I love the torp. It's a dying art, and I think the game needs more of it. So when blokes like yourself or even Jaden Hunter we've had on have kicked a few pearlers, it definitely is something for the highlight reel. And then moving on further that year, and this is something I obviously mentioned to you before, but what was the experience like with the betting suspension and coming out and having to be on the front foot? Like, what was that experience knowing that you're going to have to face the music for this a little bit?
Yeah, sort of obviously got the guilty conscience and thought I'd tell someone at the club about what happened, and came forward, and initially I thought I might get a couple of weeks, like maybe 1 or 2 weeks and a fine, but in the end, yeah, it ended up being 10 weeks, which was a lot. Obviously regret my decision immensely, but everyone at the club was very supportive and got around me for sort of getting on the front foot. So it would have hurt a lot more if there was angst within the club, but everyone from the GM of football to the coach to the players all just got around and supported me, and it made it a whole lot easier for me.
Absolutely. And then how were the 10 weeks like being at the club and being able to train but not be able to play? And was there anything extra that you had to do away from the club or during the suspension?
Yeah, so I just trained with everyone else, and then if they played on a Saturday night, I'd go into the club on a Saturday morning and do a 10, 11K session on my own, which wasn't the greatest of things. It's harder training than in a team. You can't really hide it all. So, and I was obviously wanting to as much as I could, because I knew that my first chance to play again would be the first final. And only being in my second year, I thought, geez, they're probably not going to bring me back after a 10-week suspension to play the first final. So I worked my butt off that whole time, and was lucky enough to then get the call up for the first final, which I was really appreciative of, to be given the opportunity and be trusted to come in and play my role after having so long off.
Yeah, well, you were desperately needed and desperately missed in the side. And I think a lot of the Collingwood fans and boys that I know who support the team were missing you out there. So I think it was a bit of a no-brainer that you'd come back in. Another one that I noticed, I think in a recent game, have you been painting your fingernails black? Or I saw a little screenshot. I was supposed to send this to the Moose, so we can't get it up on the screen. But what's the go with the fingernail polish?
Yeah, we've got Braden Sire. So he's a great guy, and he's got a lot of little different little tendencies, and he paints his fingers black. And obviously there's not much to do here in the hub. So I was just with Braden one day and decided I'd paint a couple of my fingernails black as well, but it's certainly not going to stay around. It was a once-off for me.
Yeah, so I'll definitely chuck that up on the Instagram afterwards.
Yeah, easy.
But another question now, mate, and I think this is one for all Collingwood fans and football fans recently. So recent allegations, and these allegations happen all the time. They're not it wasn't in the mainstream media. But just for Collingwood fans out there, I just want to confirm that your position at the football club is absolutely cemented and you're all sweet.
Yeah, I'm all good. It's my phone was going off that night when the rumours going around, and it's just ridiculous that people can make this up and then not be held accountable. Like, it tarnishes my reputation, and especially because it's false as well. It's very annoying, and I've got my phone going off. I've got family, friends, my manager calling me for an allegation that someone's just made up out of nowhere. So I think not only the mainstream media, but anyone can just sort of say whatever they want and get away with it these days. And I think it's an absolute disgrace. I'd love to see media start presenting the good side of things a lot more than the negatives. And I think in Australia, we've got a really bad tall poppy syndrome, which obviously be too hard to change, but there's too many people out there wanting to knock and bring those that are having a little bit of success down. And I think it's pretty poor in Australian culture.
Absolutely, mate. I literally had two more questions to kind of talk on that, but I think you answered it brilliantly, because for me personally as well, you see some things that happen in the media, and we obviously know a few boys that play, and you kind of know the truth of things. And I think for me, it personally hurts when people can get slandered on the front of the paper. But those reporters can say whatever they want, but then at the end of the day, they don't live the life that you boys do. And it's not just yourselves that get affected, but it's your family members, it's people you know, and all these other people that get affected by the stories that, that people don't take into account how significant the ripple effect is for you boys. So that was literally my last question. And I think you kind of answered the parts of it that I really wanted to hear. But I think that's something I really wanted to stress, especially for a Collingwood player at a powerhouse. You're at a powerhouse club and you guys are always all over the news. I think it's, sometimes a bit of a disgrace that you guys can cop some of that heat and no one's held accountable. So that's pretty much all from me. Moosey, do you have anything else?
No, mate, I actually just really enjoyed that last part of it. And that's one of the things that we really like to do here is just have a bit of, lighthearted fun, a few stitch-ups or whatever, and paint you guys in a bit of a better light, a bit more of a human light rather than just the things that you see in the media, which can often be a bit negative. So that's my 2 cents worth.
Easy.
Well, I think that's all from us, mate. So once again, thank you so much for coming on. Like, we really appreciate you helping us out. And we love to paint you boys in the light that should be painted. You guys go out there every week, you're just doing what you love, and you're in the limelight. So hopefully some people get some good insight on you as a bloke after this interview.
No, easy. Thanks heaps for your time, guys. I can go and tell Mum that I've lived out my other dream of being on the Hello Game Day podcast. So thank you.
Well, we hope we've made Mrs. Stephenson proud. That was objective number 1 tonight.
Maybe we are a chance to go to the Brownlow now, Moosey. One of us can get the call up.
Thanks again for that.
No worries.